Hello, welcome to the lecture series on control systems engineering. So we have studied control action. So I would recommend at the end of the chapter there is a video. Please, before starting this lecture, it is better you watch the video. Here, how exactly some of the control actions can be simulated using MATLAB is what I would like to demonstrate. I've just taken, as you know, the system very well. So the transfer function of this is ma square plus bs plus k. What I would like to do is that I would like to give some values for m, b, k, and I would like to study the control action on this plant. Let us say this is the controller, this is the plant. So I would like to give some values for those m, b and k, and how exactly, what is the action of this proportional controller on this, integral controller on this, derivative controller, proportional plus integral, how exactly it changes the system response. That's what exactly I want to observe. Basically you play around and just to get an idea about how exactly the system, it affects the system response. This way you can just open MATLAB. I've just taken g of s equal to say 1 by s square plus 2s plus 4. Then I multiply with say gc of kp. Maybe I'll give kp is equal to 4, 8, 10. So I go on like, then you simply give that value and say step of that, and you will observe the output over here. Probably if you just take 1 by s square 2s plus 4, right? And right, first one I think I have done it for 1 to 8 and all that. This is the kind of response you might get. Great. So now you give some kp value. Maybe you have given 4. Then again you multiply this 2. Then you'll get the transfer function. Again you see the response. Probably the response may be like this now. Correct? I have not really indicated which one is correspond to which one and all that. You do not have to worry about it. You just go on giving the values and play around. Then you give some value for kp and ki, and then you multiply this with this and go on doing this. In a particular combination, you might find a very interesting output also, right? It oscillates. Within a short time, it will attain steady state for a particular values of kp, ki and kd. So this is what needs to be done. Here I'm just, by giving some arbitrary values, I'm just studying the response. But to achieve this response, to attain certain peak time, settling time, unsteady state error and overshoot and all those kind of a thing, we should be able to determine what exactly the values of kp, ki and kd. Then we should observe whether the output meets our requirement or not. But this is simply a game. You play around. It is quite interesting and you get an idea about the effect of the controllers on system response. Yeah, recap a simple proportional integral derivative controller for a first order system and study the control action at different stages. Okay, here I have taken a first order system. So let us call it as the process. When there is an actuator, right? Here the control signal you can see from here, you can observe. If you keep a scope here, you can, how exactly the control signal is, you can see. Here the system output you can see. Correct? So this is the proportional controller. This is integral controller. This is derivative controller on error signal. This is the derivative controller. So I'm adding all the three over here. Okay, proportional, integral, derivative. I'm adding all the three, right? So this is the process and this is the feedback signal. So this is a step input. So we have step input here, and let us study the response. This is the control signal versus time that is tapped from here, and this one is process output, right? This is what you can get after simulation, right? But observe something like this here. Let us see that later. Simply here I have drawn the Simulink diagram for a PI controller. This is the process, this is the proportional controller, this is the integral controller. Okay, here this is the control signal and this is the process output signal. Again you can see here, right? This is the control signal and this is a process signal, right? The spike in the signal which I marked is known as proportional kick. It is known as proportional kick. So kick refers to the effect the control signal will have at the input to the actuator. For example, this might be a kick in the current controlling a valve actuator, and as can be imagined, the effect of the sudden increase in current could be quite damaging. Okay, this kind of thing we call it as proportional kick. Okay, now this can be removed. Suppose I will see that only error signal acts on the integral controller and feedback acts on the proportional gain like this. It will act only on the process. Okay, if I reorganize like this, it is not acting on the error signal now. Okay, so I have given integral controller, proportional gain value, process, and if I plot, you can see it has smoothened out. The control signal has smoothened out. Correct? Now this is a process output. This is with a gain of 2. Correct? Gain of 2. This with a gain of 6. Okay? So this is how now I have smoothened out. Okay, that's how the proportional kick can be manipulated. There is something like derivative kick. So derivative controller used for damping, increasing the damping. So when we use, you see here, proportional, integral, and derivative. Again, you are getting a kick here. Okay. This is what you call it as derivative kick. Other one was proportional kick. A derivative kick occurs because the value of the error changes suddenly whenever the set point is adjusted. Derivative kick occurs because the value of the error changes suddenly whenever the set point is adjusted. The derivative of a sudden jump in the error causes the derivative of the error to be instantaneously large and causes the controller output to saturate for one cycle at either an upper or lower bound. While this momentary jump is not typically a problem for most systems, a sudden saturation of the controller output can put undue stress on the final control element or potentially disturb the process. Okay, so it is the derivative of the error that happens. That's why I think you should not act on the error at all. So let us change its position, bring it over here. Let it act on the process, not on the error. Then we can remove that. Okay, that's fine. So let us talk about another very important thing, integrator anti-windup. So you have the summing point. I have the integral controller. This full together plant. I'll divide this into two. One is actuator, other one is the process. Put together we used to call it as plant. Here we have the error signal. Let us say error versus time. Some constant error is coming over here. When it is integrated, the error builds up like this. Correct. This error will be acting on the actuator. So actuator saturates, right? So what we mean by that? Actuator saturation, what we mean by that? Let us say, assume that actuator is a motor. Let us say motor is driving an XY table. This motor has a maximum speed. Let us say 2800. So if the error is building up, linearly the speed should keep on increasing. But beyond this point, motor cannot run. It is a limitation, physical limitation. Then we say the actuator is saturated. Okay. So this is the kind of case. So whenever actuator saturation happens, the control signal to the process stops changing and the feedback path is effectively open. Then error signal builds up, continues to be applied to the integrator input, and the integrated stored value will grow. That is what we call it as wind up until the sign of the error changes. So then error reaches to something like maximum. After that, can't be able to respond to that. Then the error becomes, start decreasing or becoming negative. Then the integration turns around. So this process we call it as wind up process. So that means to say, so something like when the error starts building up, if the actuator saturates, moment actuator saturates, it is better the integral action be switched off till it comes back to its normal condition. That is what you can call it as something like anti-wind up. Anti-wind up. So if you have already watched the video which has proposed, which is already, whose I think at the end of the previous video, I think I have given the link, and if you play once again, you will beautifully it is explained there, and that's what the idea I'm suggesting, like repeating over here. So we require something like anti-wind ups circuit. So suppose you have a plant, let us say G of S process, G of S is equal to 1 by S. Let us say I have a proportional and integral controller. Correct. Now you see this is the plant on a Simulink diagram. Okay. This is the proportional controller. This is the integral controller. Right. And this is the plant. Okay. This is without any saturation or without any anti-wind up. I have done these things. Okay, here I have tapped the controller output connected here, and I have tapped the process output I have connected here. This is same system with the saturation brought in. That means once the error builds up, it will switch off the integrator. Again, when it comes to the on position, it switches on like that. So this is the plan. So I have given output of that here, final controller output, and the plant output here. So you can see the system response with there is a wind up and with anti-wind up. Same a controller signal also you can see with wind up and anti-wind up. You see here, this is the response. This is without anti-wind up and this with anti-wind up. Without anti-wind up, you can see there is a large overshoot. Correct? So there is a large overshoot and corresponding control signal you can see. You see here. This is how it is building up. But with anti-wind up, no, you see here. This is the control signal. So by introducing this anti-wind up circuit, so integrator wind up can be avoided. So though PID controller looks quite interesting, but this will introduce a kind of a kick, what you call it as a proportional kick. This will introduce some kind of derivative kick, and this introduces wind up. So to eliminate proportional kick, the proportional integrator, instead of proportional controller acting directly on error, it can be put in the feedback path so that it can act only on the process. Same derivative controller also, instead of making it act on the error, make it act only on the process by placing it in the feedback path. And by having an anti-wind up circuit, integrate wind up can be eliminated. So these are the things we must know while designing PID controllers. With this, so please, I advise you to simulate some of these things on MATLAB and Simulink and understand this process. Thank you very much.